to Frank White. The Cubs win the World Series. 10-5 touchdown. Kansas City. Damian Williams runs to immortality and will be remembered forever in the Chiefs' kingdom.
Welcome in to the Brawl Network podcast. Here's your host.
Welcome, everybody, to another live episode of the Brawl Network podcast. It's me, your producer, Jay Andrews, at UPJ33. Tonight, we are featuring two guys, one Bears guy, Jacob Vogel, at The Real Jake Vogel on Twitter, and actually, he's a Ravens guy. Sorry. That's my bad. And then the Bears guy, Sam Stevenson, the employee of the month, at SJSteve9 on Twitter. Welcome, guys, and take over. It's all you.
Man, you said that he was a Bears fan with so much confidence. I was just going to roll with it. I was like,
Well, that's what happens when you look at your paper and you're upside down.
No, you're good. I honestly was like, yep, all right, perfect, let's run it. So I guess just a quick, obviously I was introduced perfectly, but I'm an editor, Bears writer for the Brawl Network. Excited to finally be on a pod. Excited to talk Ravens and Bears with Jake. I think we've been like teeming with excitement for the past couple weeks, so I'm excited to actually be here and actually start talking. But Jake, I don't know if you want to say anything before we get right into it, but I'm pumped. I'm just excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. It hasn't been that long that I've been with the Brawl Network. Austin reached out to me, and it's been exciting trying to really boost the Ravens Brawl and just in general get connected with all you guys.
All right. I mean, I say we get right into it. Our first topic is talking about both teams' 2020 draft classes. So obviously, us being from different teams, we can react very differently to each other's draft classes. But, Jake, I actually wanted to ask you a question right off the top of the bat. Personally, in my opinion, the fact that you guys got Patrick Queen in the first round of this draft so late, I thought something was rigged when that happened. Talk to me a little bit about what kind of impact does a guy like that bring, getting him in the first round on a pretty already solid Ravens defense? I want to hear from you because I was mad when I saw that you guys got him so late.
Yeah, it was really exciting and kind of unexpected that he would fall all the way to 28. I think he immediately comes in as a starter week one. They'll use him and LJ Fort as well as the guy that we got in the third round, Malik Harrison, who I also was really high on in this draft. So added some nice pieces, some fast players that can run around the offensive linemen, and they can also power through a little bit. Patrick Queen's more of the speedy linebacker that will be quite adept in coverage, while Harrison is more of the thumper, old school style Raven.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, again, I was fuming when I saw that you guys got him so late, but good for you guys. I think the big headline guy for us, obviously, getting Cole Kmet in the second round, definitely divided Bears community a little bit. Me personally, I wasn't thrilled to begin with. Obviously, the constant jokes of having 11 tight ends on your roster get boring after a while. But obviously, I think rookie tight ends do have a tough transition their first year. I think Kmet's a smart kid. I think he's going to be a good true Y tight end for this offense. And I'd love to see if he can get involved in the passing game. But if this first year is just to kind of get him transitioned, I mean, I think we gave enough money to Jimmy Graham as is. I think we're set at tight end. But, again, I'm really excited to see what Kmet can do. Jake, let me ask you something, though. You got a sleeper in your draft class that you think is going to surprise some people? I have one personally, but I'm curious.
I like the whole draft class. Of course, that's typical for most fans of their team. But for me,
Uh-oh.
Had a bit of a freeze up with Jacob there, so we'll get him back. All right, Jacob, we had you freeze up, so why don't you repeat the last 10 seconds?
We were waiting at the fence.
For me, it'd probably be Devin Duvernay out of Texas. He's a really fast receiver, kind of a linear speed guy, but what he does after contact and through contact is really impressive. He's kind of like a bowling ball out there. He can be used in Greg Roman's offense on end around, so you don't get a guy like Hollywood Brown banged up. But yeah, I'm really excited. I did a bunch of evals this past year on the incoming draft prospects for the NFL in general, and one of the guys was Devin. So
nice. I think for me personally, an area that the Bears actually traded up to get, I really like Trevis Gipson, outside linebacker that we traded up for to get in the 5th. Obviously, having Khalil Mack on your team is an exciting thought. And after signing Robert Quinn, you think that a Bears outside linebacker group is set. But in all honesty, there's not a lot of great depth back there. Obviously, Aaron Lynch went elsewhere. I believe he signed with Seattle. The Bears don't really have any true third outside linebackers who I feel great about, which is why I really like this pick. Gipson, I've watched some film on him. Obviously, I'm getting my feet wet with the whole watching prospects and stuff, really evaluating guys. But when I got a chance to look at some of his film, I mean, his raw energy, his raw power and his raw energy, was just so impressive to watch. Definitely has to work on some actual footwork and stuff and handwork and stuff. But watching him just bulldoze through people, I'm excited to see him learn, because it's been pretty obvious that Mac's been a pretty vocal leader on this team. So imagining him teach Gipson how to really just get his craft down, and I think he could be a real sleeper on this defense, get a couple of actually early sacks on. Honestly, I know it's tough for rookie guys to do that, but I think he can have an impact on this pass rush for sure. So I'm really excited to watch him play. Obviously, like you said, I'm excited to watch the whole draft class play, but it's a little biased as well. But
that sounds good. Any other guys that you want to touch on for the Bears?
Well, I guess the only other headline from training camp is Jalen Johnson, the cornerback we got out of Utah, not currently listed as the starter. This doesn't come as a surprise to me for a couple of reasons. A big red flag when he got drafted was he had a pretty bad shoulder injury he played with through Utah. I believe it was a torn labrum, which those can be a really, really hard recovery process from those injuries. And even after you get surgery and rehab, you can still kind of feel the lingering effects. So if that shoulder's bothering him, that can be a really big concern. I also think just because of the lack of preseason and the kind of reduced kind of training camp, it doesn't surprise me that the Bears are going with another option right now at starter, just until Johnson feels like he's more confident. Obviously, I think a lot of Bears fans are hoping he can be the guy at that other cornerback spot aside Kyle Fuller, but if he's not ready to go, I'm totally okay with them starting a guy like Kevin Toliver or someone along those lines who can just kind of get that position on hold until Johnson's ready to go. But otherwise, I'm excited to watch this draft class. I think it's going to be a good draft class.
That's awesome. For me, there's a number of other guys. I was really surprised with Geno Stone, our last pick in the 7th round. The draft was over for the Ravens, but they dipped back in and they got this safety out of Iowa who really has a nose for the football. I could see him ending up kind of like Chuck Clark for this defense, who came out of nowhere as a 6th round pick and ended up taking a starting role last year. And it's going to be him and Earl, but a guy like Stone could carve out a role in our sub packages and dime and quarter defense.
That's awesome. Again, your guys' team is going to look pretty nice on defense, I think. Let's move on to our next thing, and this was something actually that you guys, specifically Ravens Brawl, tweeted at me, which was not expecting Ravens Brawl to tweet at me randomly, but kind of a cool concept, stealing one player from each roster and implementing it into the current roster right now. I believe you guys had it where there was certain guys that we couldn't grab. Do you want to do that again? Because otherwise, I'm taking Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, we can do that. You can say that I can't grab Khalil Mack for the Ravens, and then I guess I'll go to the next guy, which would be Allen Robinson.
Fair. I think I would take Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think Bears fans are sick and tired of hearing the tight end jokes, but it's with fair reason. The Bears tight end group has just not been there, and a big part of Nagy's offense is the use of that tight end. Obviously, being an Andy Reid disciple, having a good tight end who can open up passing lanes and stuff is critical. So I think Andrews would immediately slot in and immediately start contributing to an offense like the Bears. And even if it's Foles or Trubisky starting, I think either way, having a guy like Andrews who could just create openings and stuff and be that true passing tight end would be an awesome addition. I think originally when you guys tweeted at me, I said Calais Campbell just because of Eddie Goldman opting out, but I think Andrews would be a better fit. But why you pick Allen Robinson? I'm curious.
I just think pairing him with Hollywood would be a really nice on the outside. It would help give Lamar a big target, which he already likes with Andrews, but help him develop his outside passing.
Yeah, I was going to say, the thought of seeing Al Robinson in your guys' uniform makes me sick to my stomach, so I hope that doesn't happen.
When he was with the Jags,
it's Hollywood Brown and the rest of the wide receivers' fault that Lamar doesn't do well on the outside of the numbers? That's what you're saying?
No, I wouldn't put it just on the receivers. I think it's Lamar's problem.
Oh, no, did he freeze again?
I upset him so much he left. I think Jacob's got a weak internet connection on his end.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
It's a good excuse to get out of the question.
It's okay.
Did you guys hear me?
No, you got to repeat the last 5 seconds.
Okay. I'm pretty sure Lamar's going to come out this year and be much improved in that area of his passing game. So we'll see.
I gotta be careful with what I say because I know our guy Jay Andrews here is Packers fan, so I gotta be walking delicately here. So, do you want to move on to our fantasy segment then?
Sure, sounds good.
So our last kind of bit here, kind of predicting who our top 3 fantasy guys are going to be for each roster. Again, I think there's a couple obvious names from both teams, but I'm actually curious to see who your number 2 and number 3 are going to be. I have a sneaking suspicion I know who number 1 is, but Jake, do you want to go first on this?
Sure. So I made a list for what I figured you would do with the Bears and, of course, the Ravens list. And it would be really tough to narrow it down to 3, when in years past the Ravens have been known just for defense and since 2012 kicking. But there's finally a number of fantasy relevant players. So number 1 is obvious. It's Lamar Jackson. He's just amazing at the quarterback position in fantasy. And if you have a league that values that, you're in a good spot with him. Number 2 would probably be Mark Andrews for me. Tight ends are hard to come by. There's only a few really good ones in the league, and Andrews is in that list, probably a top 3 to top 5 tight end. And then number 3 for me could be any number of Justin Tucker, Hollywood Brown, Mark Ingram, or the Ravens defense. And
Jacob,
I think
Jacob,
Dobbins,
it's a top 3 list. You just named 55 players. Pick one.
It's hard when you got this good of
for
a team.
guy that sends me a riding the fence emoji on Twitter earlier today, you're not getting away with riding the fence on 3 and taking 55 different players.
Give us who you
like
think is
6
going to be your
guys.
third.
I can't handle it.
Give us your third. Just give us who you think.
I'll go best guy for the position, Justin Tucker.
There you go. See? If I was about to say, if we could have listed, I would listen to the whole roster on my side of things. For me, okay, so this is kind of how I went into this. Obviously, Bears defense is always a reliable pick. I think quarterback is going to be a big impact on who's going to be putting up big numbers this year. An exciting quarterback competition going on with weeks until the season starts. My number 1 obviously is Allen Robinson. I think you could throw anyone in at quarterback. You know he's going to put up good fantasy numbers. My number 2, I went with David Montgomery. This guy had a pretty poor offensive line last year and still almost put up 1,000 rushing yards. I think if you value rushing yards in a fantasy league, I think Montgomery's going to have a much better season this year. Obviously, I know that Bears line is still a little questionable, but I do truly think that Montgomery's going to get more involved in his offense. And then my number 3 is actually going to be Jimmy Graham. And this is why. So I don't truly trust Anthony Miller yet. Again, that's going to impact based on who plays quarterback. I know Jimmy Graham isn't the best tight end out there, but what I do like about Jimmy Graham is that he's durable and he does put up some decent numbers, especially in the red zone. I know those last 2 years in the Packers weren't great, but I have been looking at his stats. I do think that Jimmy Graham's going to be a bigger upgrade. And if he's got Foles at quarterback, Foles likes his tight ends, man. I think that Graham's going to be a decent fantasy option. And Jay Andrews is shaking his head at me, but that's my
okay. I watched him 3 weeks in a row take 8 consecutive passes that were 5 yards or less from the end zone, and a 5'8", 170-pound DB just knocked the ball away. No,
Was
Sam.
Was that
Sam.
Was that a D from
No,
the Chicago
Sam.
Bears, or
Do
where
not
was the defensive back from?
It doesn't. I think some of them just walked off the street prior to suiting up. So I mean, it's like it's a bunch of no names and garbage pickers that were getting the ball off of those big mittens. They're only good for petting cats now.
I mean, hey, look, that's fair, but let me tell you something. Considering that the Bears starting tight end last year, I think, was Jesper Horsted at one point, I think Graham's going to get a lot more targets, and if Foles is starting, he's going to target Jimmy Graham, especially in that red zone.
Graham is like the Incredible Hulk stuck in quicksand to his neck.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I think Graham is done. I would, if I were you drafting a Bears tight end, it's really risky to go for a rookie, so maybe just don't do it. But Cole Kmet is more valuable to the Bears than Jimmy Graham.
I love Kmet, and I think he's going to be great, but I would not bet on Kmet this year. Rookie tight ends statistically do not do that well their first year, and Kmet's a blocking guy. I expect him to be involved in the run game a lot. I don't think he's going to have a lot of opportunities to catch the ball. Not saying he's going to be bad, because I would never trash a Bears rookie. I think Kmet's going to be awesome, but I don't trust him this rookie year, and I think if you are going to go based off of a Bears receiver group, I don't trust Anthony Miller just because he's inconsistent. I could say maybe Tariq Cohen's a safe bet, but again, Tariq Cohen's kind of been all over the place as well. If you're not going to go Jimmy Graham at 3, the only other pick I would take is maybe the Bears defense, but I don't know. I feel like Jimmy Graham's going to have some
Bears defense is the answer.
I will tell you, I would take Tariq Cohen this year over Jimmy Graham 15 times and 3 times on Sunday. Like he is still a better, more explosive, more versatile, more useful player than Jimmy Graham is when he wakes up and puts his left slipper on in the morning. Okay? Like, his only problem is that he needs to get the touches from Mr. Coach Nagy. Like, they got to give him the rock. You can't be useful on the field or in a fantasy roster if they don't hand you the rock or throw it to you, and they just didn't do that.
Yeah.
I had him on my fantasy team last year, and he was frustrating as hell.
Believe me, we could do a whole segment on how frustrating Matt Nagy's distribution of the ball was last year. But
I also had David Montgomery. He's a stud. And on those limited touches, everybody complained about him. He won me a playoff matchup for a guy that was so terrible. So whatever.
I think Montgomery's going to be having a solid season this year. Again, even if his offensive line is still kind of not at its greatest point, I'm obviously hoping that the new head DeFlippio is a good upgrade there. But if it doesn't, or Costello, excuse me, DeFlippio, someone different. But even if not, he's going to get involved in both the pass game and the run game. I'm excited to watch Montgomery. He's going to be awesome.
Jacob, question for you, quick.
Yeah.
I had Hollywood Brown last year. Higher or lower on him, and who is the second guy that you could maybe look at this year for a wide receiver or possible handcuff?
So Hollywood is going to be very much improved this year. He's worked out a ton. Last year he was banged up all year. He got a screw removed from his foot, and he just looks ready to go, and I think the chemistry is going to be there with Lamar. So I definitely expect 1,100 yards or so from Hollywood and probably 6+ touchdowns. I would say wide receiver, handcuff, maybe Miles Boykin. I know last year he did not get a lot of targets. I think he had like 23 or something like that. It was a low number, but he is the guy slotted as the X receiver. And if he improved as much as we hope, then he could be in store for a lot more involvement in the offense. So Miles Boykin would probably be the guy. Could also be Devin Duvernay, depending on how the season goes.
I like that. All right, thanks. Sam, you
Absolutely.
were smiling a little bit. What was so funny? I'm calling you out.
Oh, man, you are just on my case today. No, I think I had Hollywood on my roster too, and again, just because of those injuries, I couldn't keep him on there for long. So I hope he has that many yards, like you said. It'll be interesting to see. Again, it's all on it's all on Lamar there, but I'm hoping for that he has that many yards. I hope you guys have a good offense this year.
I'm pretty
Whoa,
confident.
you said he
confident
hopes
in
you
the
guys have a
being
good offense.
after
That's a
leading
loaded
the league
statement.
last year. And
Stop stirring the pot. I hope they're fine.
Well, I mean, that's the MVP, reigning MVP. He had over 30. He was the first quarterback to 30 touchdowns last year, and you make a statement like you hope you have a good offense?
My
Wow,
biggest
Sam.
thing is just their playoff performance. I just want to. My biggest thing when I watch the Ravens is you guys in the playoffs. Is he going to get over that hump?
Are
yeah,
the Bears going to make it to the playoffs?
Okay, look, we got our
It's
own
been
problems
2
over here in
games.
Chicago. All right.
People didn't say this about Peyton, did they?
No, look. Listen, I am not here to toss any disrespect towards Ravens fans. You guys got a great team over there. My biggest thing is when I watch him play in the playoffs, I can see that he struggles a little bit, and I don't know what it is. And it's nothing against him. Again, he's the MVP, one of the best quarterbacks probably in this league right now, or an up-and-coming one. My biggest question to you is just, do you think he's going to get over that playoff hump?
I absolutely think he will. I know right now it's like a monkey on his back, just like Steve Young had. But he'll get there, and the guys around him are going to help him get there. And the more experience you have, the more prepared you will be when you're in that position again. And it's a long season to grind out to try to get to that point once more, but I believe he will. He's just a year behind Mahomes.
Okay, guys, better passer at this point right now in their career, Mitch Trubisky or Lamar Jackson?
Oh,
Is that even a question?
No, because here's the thing. As great as Lamar is, those touchdowns, 90% of them came from inside the numbers, and most of them to tight ends. He does have an issue with his down the field and outside the numbers accuracy, which I believe in him as a passer and all of his tools. But Trubisky does have the knack of throwing outside the numbers deep pretty well when he can get the time and actually make the correct read. So it's a viable question. I just wanted to throw it in there. Better passer, not athlete, just the pure better passer at this point, Mitch Trubisky or Lamar Jackson.
I still think it's easily Lamar Jackson. There was a stat that came out today. Greg Roman had a press conference with the Ravens, and he got a question about the wide receivers not being very productive last year. And the number he gave them was that they were about like the 7th or the 8th most productive unit in the NFL in terms of touchdowns. So the Ravens wide receivers did get pretty involved last year, and obviously Lamar Jackson led the league in touchdown passes. So I feel comfortable even if they know how to move down the field in a slow, methodical way, that he's the better passer, better quarterback, better player than Trubisky at this point.
I mean, it's hard to argue against that, but I still am going to roll with my guy number 10 in terms of the question. Look, obviously we can discuss Mitch Trubisky's faults indefinitely, but when he is able to go through his mechanics and go through his progressions, Mitch can throw that ball down the field. I've seen him do it before, and I'm not saying that he's completely accurate. He definitely struggles with that, but I've seen this kid make plays on his feet and still get that ball down the field, past the numbers, inside the numbers. And look, again, it's not like he's better than Lamar Jackson overall. I think if you were to ask me which quarterback I would take, I would obviously take Lamar Jackson at this point. But if we're talking about this in a specific question, yeah, of course I think Mitch is better right now. I think Lamar is going to get there. I definitely think that this is going to be a huge season for him to prove that he can do all of that. But right now, I think I'm taking Mitch in this situation.
All right, let me ask you guys the question. How many Ravens games do you guys normally catch in a regular season? Or maybe let me phrase that for last year, because you probably weren't watching that much Joe Flacco.
I would probably say I definitely watched the playoff game last year. I probably watched at least 2 games. Obviously not a great
Watched
number. But
every snap of his career, because I watch every game because I have NFL Game Pass, and that's how I spend my weeks. I do not watch or consume anything but football during football season, and that includes spending my weeks from the time I am not working and not taking care of my wife and kids. I am watching every game from every week, every snap.
Nice. Okay, so Sam has much less experience watching Lamar, and you apparently have watched every game. So
that's why I said I defend him as the people that said he's a running quarterback. I said, no, he's a running quarterback because they design him to run. If you specifically, he has throwing tools I've seen on film, in my opinion, that Michael Vick and several other run-first quarterbacks don't exhibit at this early of an age.
100%.
If you
100%.
hone those in, he has all the skills to be a Aaron Rodgers type with a RG3 run ability, right? Where you are always threatening when you are moving behind the line that they cannot attack you because you'll throw the ball, but if they hang back, you're going to kill them with your legs and get whatever yardage they're going to give you. They have not honed his passing skills, and so I would say at this point, because a big part of success in the NFL long-term, Jacob, is making throws accurately outside the numbers and down the field. And right now I feel that on film, Mitch does that more consistently and more accurately than Lamar does, and his game, they haven't given him inside the numbers quite as much because of the design of Nagy's offense, and he just has a terrible offensive line. But I would still take Lamar and his upside and his ability to be better there. Just at this moment, given this question in that specificity, I would give the edge to Trubisky, which is probably the only edge he's going to get.
That was the nicest thing I've ever heard a Packers fan say about a Bears player. Wow.
I'm an analyst. Look, I cover the Packers. I love the Packers. That's where my fandom came. But I am in the business to be an analyst across the board. And I love to tease people and be a homer sometimes. But, all joking aside, I know what's out there.
Of course.
I understand what you're saying. I agree with it for the most part. I think Lamar progressed a ton from 2018 to 2019. And I think his passing has grown leaps and bounds, and I think he's about to surprise some people some more, even if statistically he regresses in some areas because it's hard to repeat a season like he just had as a unanimous MVP. But I appreciate that you watch all the games and that you have experience seeing Lamar not just in the playoff high-stress situations, but you see the blowouts and everything in between.
He's a special talent, and I said that when he was coming out of college, and I scoffed and laughed when they said, "Oh, will you play running?" Like, are you not watching his in college from one year to the next? He didn't just improve. He catastrophically improved his ability to be a passer. And then people still kind of scoffed at it. When you jump that big to me in college with that type of athleticism, that tells me you understand and have a football IQ that a quarterback needs, but also understand that the technical and intricacies it needed to be a accurate passer, you will work on those. And you're not just going to depend on your athletic ability. It's just a matter of time and having the coaching staff accentuate those things. He'll be fine. I have all the faith in the world about Lamar.
Yeah. We all agree on that.
Oh, yeah. He's
all
going to
right,
be
guys. You got a couple of minutes left. Whatever you want left to finish her up.
I guess I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. Obviously, again, I think we've exhausted our conversation on Lamar.
I got
I got
one. How about the news with George Kittle? And then the anti-news regarding his big contract, and then he said that it didn't happen.
I think that we are going to start seeing tight ends getting paid. It's inevitable. I think that position is changing in the NFL right now. Personally, I love Kittle. I think he's a top talent in that position. I think the argument of who's better, Kelsey or Kittle, is going to go down for quite some time. I don't know why you don't pay. I mean, obviously, I'm not huge into the contract distributions and stuff, but I don't understand why you're not paying the guy. Cannot understand why. He's Jimmy Graham's biggest weapon. He's been a huge impact on that team. I mean, when you watch some of the plays that he made in playoffs as well, some of those. I mean, when
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy Garoppolo. Did I say Jimmy Graham?
Yeah. Jimmy G, just say Jimmy G for either one, and nobody will know.
Facts. But I think the thing is, again, you talk about like the tight end position ever changing. And I don't know what the market's going to be for tight ends. Like, what's a fair salary to start at? How much money should a tight end get per year? But I feel like that's something the 49ers are going to be the first team to kind of have to figure out. And I think I don't know how you don't pay Kittle. I don't know how you don't get that guy paid.
Yeah. To me, he's the most important piece of their offense when it comes to the players they have on the field. I mean, of course, quarterback is up there. But Jimmy Garoppolo is not even close to the same caliber of quarterback that George Kittle is to a tight end.
Okay, quickly, because this discussion was on the brawl, Kittle or Kelsey?
Kittle for me as a player, Kelsey as a fantasy player.
I think I'm going to go
You're
Kelsey
doing a lot of
now.
fence riding tonight, considering, you should have never sent me that gift.
That's
going to haunt
really,
you for the rest of your life. You do.
I
really
saw that Twitter dispute, and I'm like,
that's two different arguments right there.
I saw that. I saw you guys disputing that on Twitter. I'm like, man, I really hope they don't bring this up on the pod. I think Kelsey for now, with Kittle most likely going to overtake him. I still think at the end of the day, I still feel like Kelsey's got more value right now. I think obviously this 49ers offense needs Kittle, and is Kittle is a very key component to it. But I just feel like Kelsey I just feel like as a receiver is just a little bit better. Again, you can break down the stats and stuff and totally make your counter argument and stuff, but I think for now it's still Kelsey. Barely though, barely.
I agree with Sam, Jacob. I told you why. Because the game, the way the rules are swayed, it's for the offense specifically to throw the ball. And right now is great. Kittle is a bigger, stronger, equally fast, much better blocker. But he's got slightly, less hands, doesn't catch quite as well, and he is nowhere near the route runner that Travis Kelce is at this point right now. But when he catches up with those two things, because he's going to, he's just that type of dude that's going to work at it, he's by far the overall better athlete, and that's no disrespect to Kelce. He's just the example of bigger, stronger, at that point. So it's Kelce right now because of the way the game is kind of swayed with the rules. But Kittle's right there and nipping at his heels, and it's just a matter of time before he goes blazing past him.
I'd be more than happy to have either of them come to Chicago. So
they could either come to Green Bay. That'd be fine, especially after watching him smack the Packers defense around in the championship game.
I'd be happy with Kittle and Andrews, or Kelsey and Andrews, to be honest, but just run two tight end sets all the time.
Take all three. Run a 3 tight end set.
Like him. I like that. That's old school. All right, guys. Last word for the night. We got to get out of here.
This was a lot of fun. I'm excited to keep doing this. This was a great first pod, I think. I'm excited. Yep. That's all I got.
Tons of fun. So appreciative to be on here. Thank you to Jay. Thank you to Sam. We got to shout out Tyler Dillon for the intro. I don't know if you already did it. My service has been really bad, so I apologize. But that's at Tyler with 2 R's, Dillon, Dylan, with another N at the end. And he's also in charge of the at Brawl Fantasy on Twitter and in the Brawl Network. So
Yeah, intro's awesome. I could listen to that all day.
Give him a follow.
Yep.
All right, guys, we're out of here for the night.
Appreciate it.
Peace out. Go Bears.
All right, that's the show, folks. Tune in again tomorrow night for another live episode of the Brawl Network podcast. I'll be here. Follow me on Twitter at UPJ33. Thanks to Sam and Jake. Hit Sam up on Twitter at SJSteve9 for all your Bears news. And Jacob Vogel is at The Real Jake Vogel on the Twitter for all your Ravens stuff. Love y'all. Hit up the Brawl Network on the all-new website, thebrawlnetwork.com. Go there, sign up for free. It's your one-stop shop. The Brawl has it all, baby. And don't forget to give them some love on social media. Hit them up on the Twitter at Network Brawl and follow, like, and share their Facebook page by searching the Brawl Network. Also, hit them up on IG by searching Network Brawl. Love y'all. Peace out.
Now look me in the eyes and put your hand in mine. Forever's about to happen right here in this moment of time. So let's draw a line right here in the sand. And let me say that on this very day is the day that we took a stand. Cause not just a game, it's more than a game. It's more than the hurt, it's more than the pain. It's more than the glory, it's more than the fame. This right here is about legacy, man, so it's bigger than me, it's bigger than us. We can lose sight in the midst of the fuss. Let's slow it down and take it in. Enjoy this moment, what's the rush? They wanted bad, but we wanted more. This is what we've been waiting for. With tears in our eyes, we let our hearts roar. Unleash war when we walk out this door. We won't be delayed, we won't be denied. In the end, we won't refuse with clear eyes, a full heart. There's no way that we can lose. Clear eyes.